Welcome to the full experience, where we get the essence of a television series by watching the first, ultimate, lowest, and last episodes. That is the ultimate highest ranking on IMDb, lowest ranking, first and last. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. We are in the middle of watching Moonlighting, and we are now going to talk about the lowest ranked episode, Episode 9 of Season 3, The Straight Poop, which first aired January 6th, 1987. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Dude, what a fascinating experience. Number one, we are starting to see a trend now, which is the lowest rated usually is either a break in format or focusing on an ancillary character. The lowest rated, when you're doing the full experience, is not necessarily bad. Yeah. And in fact, in this case, the lowest rated is a clip show. And we've had clip shows work out very, very well. Like in The Good Place, the clip show was ideal because, of course, our theory with the full experience is if you watch the first, ultimate, lowest, last, you pretty much got the whole story. And a clip show is a very good way to get all the way caught up. And oftentimes a clip show is quite good. Tom, I had a very confusing experience with this clip show episode of Moonlighting. I kind of want to hear your take before I start blabbing. All
right, fine. I'll prime you. I had a very varying reaction to this clip show. Like you said, with clip shows for the full experience, they can be good because you see a bunch of things from the season that you wouldn't have seen because we're only watching 4 episodes. Whereas for regular viewers, they're like, yeah, I already saw this. I got a little bit of that feeling of I already saw this because I didn't do the math, but it felt like 25% of this was from the 2 episodes we watched, right?
Yeah. 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes of this hour long, which, to be honest, if those are the ones they selected, kind of an indication that there's something to the full experience.
Yeah. One of the things that I had said was the banter between the two was one of the selling points of the series, and it wasn't quite there in the pilot because they just started doing it, right? The chemistry hadn't fully gelled yet. It wasn't as evident in the highest ranked episode because that was a special episode. It was black and white. It was a period piece. They weren't being themselves. So that is one thing I got out of this clip show is they obviously knew this was a selling point to the series and did an entire montage of banter for you. Just like banter here. You want banter, Tom? Here's all the banter you can handle. I'm like, good. I got my banter fixed. Like that reminded me of how good these two were with that sort of thing. The other part with the clip show is the frame story. Not that the frame story makes or breaks it, but the frame story can sometimes be interesting and sometimes not. And I actually found Rona Barrett kind of cool. It was fun to see her as irresistible. I like the way they sort of blurred the lines between this being reality, but they are the characters from the show. And Rona is like, you're supposed to do a show, but I'm not talking to Bruce Willis. I'm talking to David Addison. I don't know. I thought Rona Barrett was pretty great at this. What did you think?
Well, so the also is that not a character that was a real journalist or something?
Rona Barrett, yeah. Oh, so you didn't recognize her?
No, I thought they were just riffing on Barbara Walters.
No, Rona Barrett was the entertainment journalist in the late 70s and early 80s. Like she was the one who had the interviews with the stars. She would break news. She would talk to celebrities and get them to say that thing that they never said before. Barbara Walters has become more famous for that because Barbara Walters did it on a bigger stage with more than just celebrities, with world leaders and things like that. But Rona Barrett kind of, I feel like, was a pioneer in that ground. And I remember watching her on broadcast television back in the day. So her playing herself in a TV show was kind of a big deal at the time.
Yeah, well, so I spent fully half of this angry, like really, really angry at it.
Okay.
Like, who is this for? Like a bunch of without any context. It was a bunch of what I assume were big moments, just devoid of any context. And you could see it because we just watched the pilot and we just watched the dream sequence always rings twice. Now it was confusing. So in the full experience timeline, we saw the pilot, which is a 80s movie-ish by the numbers thing. Then we get the ultimate episode, which is a very hand-holding, guys, we're going to do it a little bit weird. I actually was confused at the beginning of this because I did not know, Tom, that like I organically noticed that that Bruce Willis's demeanor, Addison's demeanor, is very Bugs Bunny-esque. I did not know until about 5 minutes into this that it's like, oh, they really go full Bugs Bunny and look at the camera. I didn't know that was a conceit until, and this is in the latter half of this, they point out all the times that they winked and brought people in, at which point I was annoyed at the beginning because it's like, yeah, it's will they, won't they? Why are they, are they pitching the show? What is this? And then, yeah, it's also this character and that character. Everything was so by the numbers. And then the writers took stage, and you could tell the writers got the opportunity to pick all of their favorite cleverest lines, which I should hate this because all they did was shine a spotlight on their own clever writing and go, but instead, that Dr. Seuss thing was great. There, the moment that when they talk about like, I don't give a flying fig. You know what? I don't even know what a flying fig is. Don't worry. They do. And then they both slyly look at the audience, and I'm like, you know what? It never occurred to me that they're saying the flying F word until just then. And it's like, wow. And then they kept hitting me with those. And at one point I barked laughter, especially when they got to the part where it's like, what do we say? I'm sorry. And then what do we tell them? And then they turned and said, I'm sorry. And I was like, wait, are they apologizing because it's a clip show? And then boom, the confirmation when they're like, and new episode next Tuesday, which all of a sudden, the fact that this is the lowest rated episode is like, that's part of the bit. It was designed to be their worst episode. And it just made me so happy. It made me think of The Simpsons where the credits roll and they go, sorry for the clip show. It was just amazing. I don't know. I went from hating it to becoming okay with it and kind of getting it. And then the credits started to roll, and I picked up the remote, Tom.
Mm-hmm. I think I did the exact same thing that you did, but carry on.
And then I noticed there were 6 more minutes.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to get in trouble. And I want you to know, I had my fill and I was done. And then I was ready to be done with the whole thing. Yep. But I was like, well, I have an obligation. I'm going to get in trouble if I don't watch it. And then sure enough, they do this fake out thing, and I remember thinking, I am so glad I didn't walk away from the credits. And I loathe to be somebody on the Cordkillers podcast who didn't. Hey, Amos, did you stick around for the credits?
I didn't even finish the episode. I didn't understand the concept. I didn't understand the conceit, and that made watching it very difficult on a very busy scheduled day. So I didn't even,
well, especially because the first half of it is preloaded with stuff we already watched, right? So you're probably sitting there going like, yeah, I saw this. Show me something new.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, this is, and not understanding the conceit of it and not having the time frame with the host of the talk show, it was completely lost on me. So this episode was just, it started out dull and boring and continued until I got about halfway through and I ran out of time.
Yeah, you stopped before it got good. I'm not going to say you stopped right before it got good because you probably didn't. You probably would have had to suffer through a few more minutes. But
it got the last 20 minutes of that experience I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and I wonder if we would have enjoyed it less if we had watched the entire series, because this would have been more repetitive. But I also think some of it just picked up. it is very much a fan episode, but I actually did remember that the buzz around Moonlighting was that they constantly addressed the audience, right? They broke the fourth wall all the time, and I thought that was really fun. So I love that they worked that into the Frame story. I was like, this is a better Frame story than Eclipse Show deserves, frankly. It's not a great story, but they actually gave it some attention. And the bloopers at the end, Brian, it was as if you were describing what I would have described. I picked up the remote. I noticed there were 6 minutes. I thought, well, I guess I should let it play out, and I'm sure it'll be boring. And then there were bloopers, and I'm like, oh, bloopers are fun. And then the bloopers just got better and better, and they were spaced perfectly so that I never really turned away and lost interest. And I was like, okay, that was good. That was a good move.
The editing became a character itself. It's
right?
Like it was playing the "what's that on your shirt? Got your nose" game, with the viewer like, no, we're done. Oh, just one more, and you could tell which was going to be the last of the bloopers because it was self-referential almost. And then, and also remember, we're talking about design nudges in this episode of Cordkillers. The design nudge by design. You couldn't get your hands on bloopers. There was only like an underground videotape railroad, maybe. There was no YouTube where they were cheap, where mistakes were kind of precious. And for them to drip those out, especially knowing how expensive film was when Bruce Willis caught the giggles and was trying to get through it, it's like that's a weird moment because on the one hand, man, film is expensive, and you do get railed out and yelled
we're
at.
on a TV budget, Mr. Willis.
Yeah.
No, that was really good. Also, you caught the Remington Steele cameo, which was in no way explained.
I was wondering,
Pierce Brosnan shows up. He doesn't identify himself as Remington Steele, but he sort of broadly talks about being in the business. So if you're watching at the time when Remington Steele is still airing on another network, this is on ABC, Remington Steele's on NBC, you would be like, oh, wow, they crossed the networks. But Paulus in our chat room pointed out that the show creator of Moonlighting worked on Remington Steele before he came over and started Moonlighting. So that was probably how they were able to pull that. I don't know if Paulus knows this, but I didn't understand the Peter Bogdanovich cameo. I knew who he was, but I missed the connection there. But that was also an interesting way to keep it from just being clip, is to bring in a couple of those things.
Well, and I guess we had already seen the precedent for that with the random Orson Welles cameo. I did like, I don't love Hollywood celebrating Hollywood stuff, but I did think the picking up the phone and it being an Emmy and them, throwing it that was just enough meta for my tastes.
Ambassador Domo and Paulus both pointed out something I probably should have known. Bogdanovich directed The Last Picture Show, which of course was Sybil Shepherd's
dated Sybil Shepherd.
And then later dated her.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the connection there. Duh. Thank you for clearing that up. I would have been remiss if we'd gone this entire episode without mentioning that. I don't know. Bloopers were the best part of this. Pretty decent writing.
The best part was when they cleared the runway for all of the best vaudeville bits. Like everything from the slip sliding through the foam, like just show me the wacky highlights. They went full Bugs Bunny on a whole bunch of stuff. And
yeah, you like that the best, huh?
Well, no, I didn't even like watching it. I liked that. Now. I learned something new because the first half I was like, who is this even for? It's not for the people who are watching it, and it's not entertaining for somebody who doesn't know all this stuff. And then they got to, it's like, did you know? They finally got to something that I didn't know. So I would bet, Tom, that if I was a week after week person, I would hate this episode.
I probably would have changed the channel, which is why you so rightly pointed out that the writers wore that on their sleeve, because this is coming back from holiday break, right? December 16th is the last episode of Moonlighting. And then you get the holiday break. You come back on January 6th with the straight poop, and everybody's like, cool, new episode of Moonlighting. And Moonlighting producers are like, nope, it's a clip show. And I bet they had to do a clip show. Clip shows were often done because of budgeting reasons. They had to do a clip show, and usually you bury the clip show towards the end of the season, or what you think is historically your lowest rated week anyway. And instead, this is a highly rated week. And I think I don't know what the real reasons of putting it on the return from the holidays was. Maybe it's because the way it fell, it was not going to be as highly viewed because it's so early, January 6th, maybe. I don't know. But they rightly said, like, hey, if you came back wanting a new episode, we're gonna acknowledge that you wanted a new episode. We're gonna make that the entire plot, and we hired Rona Barrett to come up and play with it for you, and we'll apologize directly to camera. So I feel like they did everything they could.
I did like,
except not do a clip show.
Yeah.
How many people watched the first half of this, turned it off, went to something else, or went to bed or whatever, and then found out the next day that there was stuff at the end that they should have caught, and then they didn't have it on their VCR?
Well, again, if you're watching the entire run of Moonlighting, all of it is stuff you've seen before. So I imagine our reaction to the first half would be their reaction to more of it. Unless you just really love Moonlighting. You're like, oh, I haven't seen that. Because again, they didn't watch it within the past 2 weeks. These episodes aired years ago for them. So maybe they faded in their memory more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that is what we got to say about the Straight Poop, January 6th, 1987. Oh, I did note the line "get banged."
Oh yeah, a lot of like they definitely they just spent 30 seconds saying the word sex because they could. Sex, sex, sex,
Boink.
sex.
Boink.
Everyone sex.
Everyone's boinking.
Yeah. Boinking. Well, we will finish up with Moonlighting by watching the finale called Lunar Eclipse, which first aired in 1989. That'll be the final discussion of the Moonlighting full experience. And if you are a patron, you can hear us discuss what we will be watching after Moonlighting as part of After Talk. So go get that by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Cordkillers. We will give you more of the full experience next time. Talk to you then.